Well, that's me exercise my democratic right for the UK General Election 2017. So, the general election has started. The voting's gone, and they've had the exit poll. Now, before I say the exit poll, obviously you know it by now, but I predict, and I'll say this now, that it will be, I think it will be status quo in regards to the Tory majority, with the slight chance of a hung parliament. I think that might be the case. But the exit poll is actually quite a shock. 314 Conservative, 266 Labour, 34 SNP, which makes me think Scotland's a bit more important than I thought it was going to be, because that means where are those 22 seats that the SNP got last time, where have they gone? Is it all Tory? Is it Lib Dem? Is it Labour? Where's they gone? Then we've got 14 for the Lib Dems, which suggests maybe Lib Dems have picked up seats maybe in Scotland, so that's becoming their heartland. And then you've got the other parties, virtually no change. The only difference, I don't know what the Northern Ireland breakdown is, they haven't said that, but the only difference I would say is that there's no UKIP seat this time round, so that's possibly where the Tories maybe picked up a seat somewhere. But if that is true, that is more surprising than I ever expected. And it makes me think that the young vote has come out. I don't know what the turnout is, that's still to come, but oh my word, that's a shock.
And that Chi Onwurah has been duly elected to serve as member for the said constituency.
So, the first result has just turned up. It's just 3 minutes past 11, and Sunderland South are not the first constituency to declare for the first time in 20 years. Newcastle Central are the first to decline. Labour Heartland, Labour have won it with a majority of 14,000, nearly 15,000. Turnout saying 67%, which is actually up of the average from last year. So maybe turnout isn't going to be so much of a problem. Need to wait and see.
Well, they may... that Bridget May Phillipson has been duly elected to serve as member for the said constituency. They may be able to count in a hurry. They certainly need to take control of their sound system. Labour won. It was a safe Labour seat, but the Conservatives are up more than Labour in that seat. UKIP went down.
So that's about 10 minutes afterwards. Sunderland South has come in, and Labour have gained the majority. They've increased their vote a little bit, but it looks like the UKIP vote from last time has gone mostly to the Tories. They've got majority, about 14,000, and it's a 61% turnout. So, and then we have just had another one in. Oh no, that's the same one. Horton Sunderland South. I was looking at the board there. No, so Horton Sunderland South has come in, and they're second to declare. It's now going to be a bit of a lapse for the next couple of hours, I think. I think there's going to come in thick and fast. So this will be probably the last one I'm actually going to be commenting on as it comes in, because there's going to be a lot coming in. I've got to really concentrate on the seats. I'm intrigued to see where the predictions are as time goes on, but it's still a shock. I'm busy editing at the moment the clips from earlier and put them together. The idea tonight is to try and edit as I go, and edit as much as I can, so there's a chance I can get this up for Sunday. But I do have a backup in place in case I can't get the full video ready for Sunday, because I've got the reenactment stuff this weekend, so it's going to be very difficult for me to do anything substantial in regards to getting a video up in time, because I really don't have much time Friday to do it, because I'm over to Dumbarton by Friday evening. Speaking of Dumbartonshire East is the one I'm interested in Scotland. Will the Liberal Democrats Jo Swinson get her seat back? If she does, it is kind of a bellwether of the situation of the Tories, of the SNP seats that were marginal last time round. And I think that's possibly where the SNP are going to lose their marginals. So I'm going to do a bit of digging and see if I can find out where I think the SNP may lose their seats, if it's going to be 34. But that's still quite a shock if that is true. So it's just after midnight. There have been 9 seats now declared, none of them changing hands. They're all the seats they were before. 6 Labour, 3 Conservative. The Scottish question is actually quite intriguing. Labour predictions maybe 6 seats. Lib Dems are saying 4. Tories are saying anything between 8 and 10. If that's true, that's where most of the seats are coming from. And it's not just marginals, it seems to be majority seats where the vote is being split for the nationalist side and SNP going through, or there's one side getting better than the other. The Lib Dems seem to be confident in 2 seats, which is intriguing. Labour seems to be confident in Mary Black's seat, which is the one Paisley and Renfrewshire South. So there's interesting dynamics going on here. Down in England, the exit poll isn't really holding true at the moment. It's too early to tell in regards to that, but the UKIP vote is collapsing, and what's tending to happen is the second place party is tending to take the vast majority of those votes, and then the main party, the party that wins, is tending to take about half that share. That seems to be roughly what's happening at the moment. So yes, it's looking quite intriguing how this is going to pan out.
Well, there we are. We have the result there. Labour hold Wrexham. The Conservatives were hoping to take Wrexham.
And it's a part of the country. Theresa May went there several times during the campaign. She spent a lot of time in Wales. They were hopeful of taking quite a number of seats.
1:10, and the Scottish seats still haven't come in, but the first Welsh seat has come in. Labour have held Wrexham. So the first Welsh seat has come in, so they're starting to come in thick and fast. So we will see how it's panning out, but it's looking like Labour is holding out in some places that Tories have tried to take in other parts of the country. So maybe there is an increase in seats for Labour. Still way too early to tell. It's only 20 seats, not 19 seats, 13 to Labour, 6 to the Conservative. None of them have changed hands as yet. So the interesting bit tonight still haven't kept going. Hold up, spoke too soon. Oh my word. Yes, Labour have taken Rutherglen, Hamilton West, an 8.9% swing to Labour. Labour have taken back their seat in Rutherglen, Hamilton West from the SNP. 265 majority. That is wafer thin. Wafer thin. And it makes me think that possibly East Kilbride will declare very soon from that. But that's the first of what I understand. It's the first turn of change of party in the election. So that is quite an interesting result, and it's the first declared. Now what was that? That's 1:15, and we have the first declaration in Scotland, and it is in Rutherglen and Hamilton West, which is a neighbouring constituency to me, and that would mean that probably you will find that the South Lanarkshire seats are probably going to be declared rather quickly now. I think East Kilbride is probably going to be one of the next ones in Scotland. So that'll be interesting to see what my personal constituency has there. But the first change of the night is in Rutherglen.
Therefore, I declare that Mary Black is duly elected as the Member of Parliament for the Paisley and Renfrewshire South constituency. Thank you.
The first one I've managed to catch live when it's declared. The second Scottish seat, Mary Black has managed to hold her seat in Paisley and Renfrewshire South, which makes me think that potentially the SNP numbers may be a bit higher than you think. We are at 1:30. The results are starting to come in a little bit thick and fast. Still waiting for my own constituency. But I think one of the more interesting ones is going to be the Moray seat, Angus Robertson's seat, and also Eastern Berkshire and Edinburgh West. Those three seem to be intriguing. Eastwood, or as it's called, Renfrewshire East, is also another one that I think could be an interesting one. That's actually a three-way battle between the Tories, the SNP and Labour.
Wedi ei ethol yn brodol, yn aelod senedol dros Ddyffryn Clwyd,
Well, I can't translate from the Welsh, but I know what he's saying, which is Chris Ruane has taken this for Labour. He had it before up until 2015, and he's won it back for Labour from the Conservatives.
So it's a little late now, it's 20-2. We've got about 40 seats now being declared. One of them is a change from Conservatives to Labour in Wales. Vale of Clwyd has become the first gain for Labour in Wales. So that's an interesting result here. The first Conservative gain of the night, and it's in Scotland. It's Angus has gone from the SNP, and they have obtained nearly a 3,000 majority from that. So yeah, that's a couple of seats the SNP have lost now. But the Conservatives have won their first seat north of Glasgow in over 20 years. And that is the seat of Angus. So yes, first Conservative seat of the night in Scotland and the first Conservative gain.
And I declare that Lisa Cameron is therefore elected to serve.
Did I just watch that right? Conservatives 13,000 votes. No wonder Lisa Cameron only had a 4,000 majority. That was close. Whoa. That is a sign that the Tories are going to do well in Scotland tonight. Question is that a sign that the Tories are going to do well in the rest of the UK? I doubt it, because Labour seems to be taking seats in other places as well. So, oh my word, that is a shock. Okay, it's 2:10, and we have had 100 seats declared across the UK. The seats are as follows: 53 to Labour, up 4. Then we have 33 to the Conservatives, down 2. The SNP are on 8, down 2. The DUP are on 3. Clyde Cymru is on 2. And the other, which is the Independent in Northern Ireland, on 1. So that's the result at the moment. Labour are making gains. The biggest story seems to be at the moment not so much down south, but up in Scotland. The Tories have won the seat of Angus. They seem to be splitting and reducing the vast majority of Scottish seats so far. My personal constituency, Scotland, Straven, Lesberhagen, has its smallest majority I've seen in a long time for the winning party. And it looks very much like the Tories are going to help seats change colour from the SNP to other parties. The Lanarkshire area, the Lanarkshire and the Central Belt, it's been about 13-14% increase in the vote in the Tories. The Tories were third, and a very safe third in East Kilbride, and they looked like they were the cause of the SNP losing Rutherglen and Hamilton West, with a slim majority to Labour of 265. That's going to be one of the marginal seats next time round.
Conservatives take Murray. Angus Robertson, the familiar figure in the House of Commons, asking his 2 questions on behalf of the SNP, is out of the House. And Douglas Ross is there for the Conservatives.
And here we go, another one. It's 18 minutes past 2. These are coming thick and fast now. Moray, the constituency of Angus Robertson. He's lost his seat. The Tories have taken it with a majority of just over 4,000. That is a picture that seems to be coming up more and more now. The Tories are coming in, nicking the votes, slashing the SNP leads, and it looks like the SNP are now predicted to have 32 seats in Scotland, not 34. The Tories predicted to have 322 overall the country, Labour 261, and the Lib Dems 13. Lib Dems and Labour still go up in seats. The SNP are now just over the halfway mark of the seats in Scotland. If that creeps up a little bit more, which I have a funny feeling Scotland is going to be the influence here, and the Tories do get that slim majority, I think the SNP may have less than half the seats in Scotland, and that could be very interesting for Scottish politics going forward.
Therefore, I give public notice that Paul Masterton, is duly elected as a Member of Parliament for the East Renfrewshire constituency.
And I declare that Joe Swinson is elected to serve in the United Kingdom Parliament as the member for the Eastern Berkshire County constituency.
Nick Clegg, Liberal Democrats, 19,756. Jared O'Mara, Labour Party, 21,881.
This is the second attempt at trying to record this because the past 5 minutes has been so many interesting seats. We start in Scotland. There's been 3 seats in Scotland that are quite intriguing. First one was Renfrewshire East. It was a 3-way split between the Tories, Labour and SNP. Kirsten Oswald was trying to hold the seat for the SNP, but she lost. She lost to the Conservative candidate. 4,000 majority they have in Renfrewshire East. Some friends on Facebook have already commented about how the Conservatives could vote in there. I think you'll probably find it's probably an anti-independence vote that's done it. Nothing to do with the Conservatives in that respect. The next seat is Dunbartonshire East. Jo Swinson won it. She won it with a majority of 6,000. I think there's been a bit of a swing to try and hold the, get the swing over to her. Because the Tory swing is as much. I think there's been a push to get her the seat again. So Liberal Democrats have won that seat. Glasgow East, very tight, but the SNP candidate won, so SNP have held that seat. And then the biggest shock of the UK general election so far, one of the biggest names in politics, or one of the well-known names in politics, Nick Clegg has lost his Sheffield Hallam seat. He's lost it by about 2,000 votes to the Labour candidate. So it's 10-3, and in a matter of about 5 minutes, the excitement's just ramped up.
And I do hereby declare that the said Jeremy Bernard Corbyn is duly elected to serve as Member of Parliament for the Islington North constituency.
So Jeremy Corbyn has won his seat. He's had a little speech talking about how the Tories haven't managed to get their majority they wanted. But before that, just before he came up, I was looking at the seat for Lanark and Hampton East, which is the seat beside me, and my God, that's squeaky bum time. That really is. The top 3 parties in that vote are split by less than 400 votes. It's unbelievable. 266 majority. That is tight as anything. Oh my word, that is tight. Stories coming off in Scotland at the moment. The Tories are taking seats from the SNP as regular as Labour seem to be taking seats from the SNP at the moment. Vince Cable has become Lib Dem MP in Twickenham again. He's won his seat. Obviously, Nick Clegg has lost his seat. It's looking an interesting night so far in Scotland, and that's where I'm going to concentrate. But it does very much look like we are still going to have more Labour MPs in Parliament, and the Tories looks like they're going to squeak a majority still. It looks still plausible as it currently stands. But let's see how it goes on.
I hereby declare that Theresa Mary, the Conservative Party candidate, has been
duly elected. Well, that is a good example of what English democracy throws up in these seats where the Prime Minister is. You get every Tom, Dick and Harry coming and standing. I reckon they made £5,000 in lost deposits.
So it's 3:25. Theresa May's just had her election result. She's won her constituency quite convincingly, but her speech wasn't that convincing. She's a bit uncertain, stating that she wants to have a strong, government, but I don't know whether the Tories actually will. Certainly, I still believe it's still too early to tell, but I still believe that they will have a small majority, maybe slightly less than what they had before they went into Parliament, but I'm still certain they'll go over the 326 in the seats, just. Although there's quite a bit that makes me think maybe I'm a bit optimistic. The Tories should keep taking seats in Scotland, though. They've taken Ayrshire, they've taken Ayr and North Carrick, which a few of my friends in the reenactment team probably won't be very happy about, but they have, and they've taken the seat. So, yes, there is a lot that we are still to go. We have over half the seats still to go, or just under half the seats to go. So there's a bit to do, but we'll see what happens. But yes, oh, I think we've just had Tim Farron come in. He's held his seat by the looks of it. The Liberal Democrat leader looks like he's held his seat. What did we have? Westmoreland and Lonsdale. Let's have a look. Yes, he held it. Oh, 777 majority. He only just held it. Whoa, that's a slim majority for a Lib Dem leader. It's Nick Clegg all over again. That is interesting. There's been so much going on the past 50 minutes or so that I forgot about the situation with some of the votes. I've been concentrating on not just the Labour gains, but also the gains of the Liberal Democrats, which seem to be winning seats that they weren't necessarily winning. They've won Eastbourne, which is something I don't think they were expecting. And they've also won the seat I mentioned earlier on, Edinburgh West. They've won it with a majority of about 3,000 votes. So, yes, there does seem to be a kind of tightening between the big two, of the Tories and Conservatives. The BBC's now saying that the forecast is going to be 318 seats to the Tories, 267 to Labour, which is one up from the racial exit poll, 32 to the SNP and 11 to the Lib Dems. So it's looking very much like it's going to be a very tight contest. I'm starting to doubt my prediction that it's going to be status quo with the Tory majority. I don't think it's going to happen now, but a lot of the Tory seats has now started to come in, so maybe it will be right, but I'm not as confident as I was 5 hours ago. I think there is going to be a hung parliament. I do think the Tories are going to be the largest majority, the largest party. By how much is the question. If the Conservatives are 10 seats below the BBC forecast, and Labour gains 5 or 6 seats, then you have a working progressive coalition potentially there, and potentially you could see the Conservative Party no longer there. The biggest thing is Theresa May's reputation, because she gambled that she could get a bigger majority. The gamble has failed, and she's actually going to lose the Conservative majority. It's going to put a lot of things in the air in regards to Brexit. It's going to put a lot of things in the air about the economy and the government. It's looking very unlikely it's going to be a kind of 2010 situation where the Tories go into coalition with the Liberal Democrats. The Liberal Democrats don't have enough seats to do so. It's not going to be a strong enough majority to do that. But it does look like potentially Labour could have a very important playing card in the next couple of days. This election isn't over tomorrow morning. It's going to be a little bit longer before we know. And I think probably by Sunday, when this video gets released, or when it gets released just after Sunday, you will probably find that they still haven't had a government yet. Okay, 4:15, and for the first time all night, the Tories have got more seats than anybody else as they're tallying up. So it's taken to over 200 seats for the Tories to take over. Usually it's a little bit quicker than that, so it just shows how Labour's succeeding where they are. Seats as it currently sits, according to the BBC tallies that they've got here, are 229 for the Tories, 222 for Labour, 32 for the SNP, 10 for the Liberal Democrats, 10 for the DUP, Democratic Unionist Party, and then you've got the others as well, which totals 3 for Plaid Cymru, 7 for Sinn Féin, and 1 independent. So that's the set at the moment, that's the standings. Scotland is the more interesting point for me. The SNP have got 32 seats, the Conservatives have 9, Labour have 7, and the Lib Dems have 3. So all the Nationalist Party, the Unionist parties have made gains. The SNP have got more than half the seats in Scotland. It looks like 34 is more likely to be what they get. There's a few seats left. The Gordon seat of Alex Salmon still to go. There's a seat Bantham Buchan as well, which could go Tory. Argyll Butte, that was SNP last time round. Dumfries Galloway, they're saying it's going to be Tory, and they're going to say that Dumfries, Clydesdale and Tweedale is going to be Tory. So it looks like the Tories are going to end up with about 12, but the SNP could end up with 34, 35. So it looks like the prediction at the beginning of the night for the exit poll is probably going to be spot on.
I declare that Colin James Clark is duly elected to serve in the UK Parliament as a member for the Gordon constituency.
So the Conservatives take Gordon, and Alex Salmond, former leader of the SNP, loses his seat in the House of Commons.
I was going to start editing some of the clips from earlier on, and then the result for Gordon came in. I thought Angus Robertson was a big surprise. We've got an even bigger surprise now. Alex Salmond's been voted out. The Tory candidate has won the seat in Gordon. Wow. I wasn't expecting so many seats from the Tories, but it looks very much like they are making so many gains. The SNP may not even hit the 34 after that result. You never know. But oh wow, couple of big scalps tonight. Really interesting politics going on here. But that's another SNP fall. The former leader of the SNP, twice former leader of the SNP, has lost his seat.
Therefore, I give public notice that Amber Rudd is duly elected as the Member of Parliament for the Hastings and Rye constituency.
So the Home Secretary holds on to her seat. There was talk that it was going to be difficult for her, but she holds on.
So it's 5 in the morning, and the result for Amber Rudd, the Home Secretary, has come in. She won her seat. 346 was the majority. Very tight. Very, very tight with the Labour candidate. There has been over 600 seats declared. There's less than 50 to go. It's looking very likely that we have a hung parliament now. My prediction is out the water. I think it's nearly bedtime for me. I don't think the results could be much different now. I'm just waiting a couple of the Scottish results to come through. 5 North East is a potential Lib Dem target. We've got Orkney and Shetland, which is Alistair Carmichael's seat, which is still to declare. And then we've got the 2 seats in the borders, Dumfries and Galloway, and Dumfries, Clydesdale and Tweedale, which is David Mundell's seat. So, still a bit to go. Once those seats are gone in, I think I'm just going to pack it in for the night and go to bed. And then wake up tomorrow, later on today, and review the results and give you my opinion. Okay, so it's over. And it was an interesting result last night. I wasn't expecting it to be so close. Shocked and stunned. My prediction wasn't quite right. The Tories didn't quite get the majority. Not on their own. The seats were as follows. The Conservatives, 318. Labour, 261. The SNP, 35. The Liberal Democrats, 12. The Democratic Unionist Party, that's Northern Ireland, 10. Sinn Féin, that's Northern Ireland, 7. Clyde Cymru, 4. It's the best result they've had in years. The Green Party, 1. And other parties, which was an independent in Northern Ireland, 1. So, yeah, quite a few surprises. Now, the Scottish seats finished with 35 for the SNP, 13 for the Tories. Now, the Conservatives won 3 seats in South of Scotland, Dumfries and Galloway, Dumfries, Clydesdale and Tweedale, which they won last time. So they retained their seat with a bigger majority. David Mundell had a majority of about 10,000 this time round, not close or anything like last time. And the Berwickshire Roxburgh one was also went Tory. The one that was interesting was the seat between the seat in North East Fife between the SNP and Liberal Democrats. The Liberal Democrats lost it by 2 votes. I believe that's the smallest majority in the United Kingdom. I believe that's the smallest majority. Since I've been asleep and I've woken up again, it seems very much like Theresa May's already done a deal with a confidence supply vote with the Democratic Unionist Party, so she will be able to govern as a minority government with the DUP's help. So it is a Conservative government. That was expected, maybe not with such a small maybe with a bit more of a strength to them, but that is happening. Social media has a lot of vitriol in it this morning. A lot of people who did not like the Conservatives getting seats in Scotland, but there's a couple of factors there. Labour, as a Scottish force, benefited from the Corbyn bounce. They didn't really have their own strength. You've got to remember that a lot of the seats that the Conservatives, Labour and the SNP took weren't exactly thumping majorities last time round. Some of them were actually quite marginal, and those seats were taken. Also, you've got to remember that last time was a completely different political landscape with the back of the Indie referendum. This time round, Brexit played a part. A second Indie referendum was playing a part. There's lots of factors. These seats won't probably stay the colour that they are. They're either going to be going back to SNP next time round, or they're going to go between another party and themselves. The SNP are on the wane, but not massively. They still are a political force in Scotland, but they may have to realign their politics a little bit. Biggest shock of the night has to be the result, of course. But for the MPs, couple of squeaky bums. The Lanark and Hamilton East seat, 3 parties were within 400 votes of each other. That was very squeaky bum. The SNP still won that. The sign of things to come was the Labour win in Rutherglen and Hamilton West. Alex Salmond losing his seat up in Gordon, along with Alistair Carmichael keeping his. And then you've got Angus Robertson, the leader of the SNP in Westminster, who lost his seat as well, both to the Conservatives. I think the biggest shock down south, or the biggest surprise down south, or biggest story, was Nick Clegg, the former leader of the Liberal Democrats and former Deputy Prime Minister, who lost a seat in Sheffield Hallam. He lost it to Labour. And the story was, basically, if it wasn't for Scotland getting an additional 12 Tory seats, you could be potentially seeing a very interesting coalition elsewhere. Didn't quite happen, but I tell you one thing, Jeremy Corbyn is vindicated. He's been vindicated with his campaign, vindicated with his leadership, and I don't think you're going to see a challenge to him for a very long time to come now. I think he's going to be there for at least the next 12 months, if not longer. They're already predicting another general election within 12 months. I don't think that's going to happen. I think you'll find that they're going to hold on now and limp along until Brexit's done. But it changes the Brexit conversation just slightly, because Theresa May cannot be so defiant. She has to change her tact here, otherwise there could be a little more of a backlash going on. Well, oh my word, what a night. I think I'm going to leave it here. Thank you very much for watching, if you have. And I hope you enjoyed this. Leave your comments on what you thought of the election below, of course. You can speak to me on all the social media sites as well. And don't forget to subscribe below if you don't already, because more videos like this will come up on a weekly basis. I post videos at 7 PM GMT. Next week is a Doctor Who related video. Finally, the review of The Green Death comes about. And I shall see you next time. See you later.